Welcome to Toffee TV. It is the Everton ClubCall. I am here with John Blaine, which means only one thing. If you want to annoy John with your business calls, get them in.
I thought you just meant it was Zach's birthday.
Oh, yeah. Baz going on. Zach's birthday. Happy birthday, Zach.
12.
12.
Remember when you were 12?
Yeah, at Everton. Won things. Or we're in the middle of winning things. Yeah, so it is the club call. If you are on Toffee TV Premier, you can give us a call. We had loads of really, really good calls last week. And, of course, while we were on here last week, the Farhad Mashiri statement dropped. So we had loads to talk about. I don't know. I haven't. No. I don't have that. I don't quite have that power. I'm not Jim White. So if you want to get in touch with us, give us a call. The link is at the top of the page on Toffee TV Premier. If you haven't called before, all you have to do is click on the link, whether you're on a laptop, a phone, a tablet, stick a pair of headphones in for us so we can hear you nice and clearly. And that's it. You don't have to pay for it. Well, you have to pay for your internet. I get that, but that's like what the way it is now, isn't it?
No incremental cost.
Yeah, there's no extra cost. You don't have to ask the bill payer. Although if you are under 16, I'd rather you did check with someone before you're younger because, yeah. So let's get some call. And what happens is, once one person calls, sometimes it's a bit slow.
You could be the first.
Yeah, get on. Because we're only on till 6 o'clock. So make sure if you're going to give us a call, give us a call. And that means everybody, whether you're in Timbuktu, Bristol, Liverpool, or wherever in the world. I'd love if it was like the weirdest place anyone's ever called from. Like, when are we going to have one from the base in Antarctica? That's what I want to know. One of the scientists.
We really should be capturing the people who ring in from furthest away and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's what we want. Lewis has put a super chat in though. He says, this one for you, John, 100%.
Okay.
Would you rather have David Moyes replace Lampard as manager or Moyes replace Bill Kenwright as the chairman?
Manager for manager.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a choice really, but
no.
Yeah, but manager for manager.
It's a different skill set, isn't it?
Totally, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that because he's done the CEO show? Is it someone?
Maybe,
maybe,
yeah.
Maybe he's a CEO.
Maybe he's. I mean, I wouldn't say chairman. You could slightly argue for a director of football, maybe, because he did so much when he was at Everton, but not chairman, surely.
A technical director.
Yeah.
Board member.
Yeah.
As a consequence.
Definitely, yeah.
Good question though.
Definitely. So get your. Thanks. That was Lewis. Thanks for your super chat, Lewis.
You'd have got in
but
without
you could
paying,
have just.
you know.
Well, if you were on, if you'd used that £4.50, join Toffee TV Premier, you could have called us and give us that in our ears.
Wow.
So
do it now.
I don't like super chats. What I like is people joining Toffee TV Premier because I think for the value you get, if it's like £3, it's a bit more than £3 because the dollar and stuff. You can have a month's worth of shows, and when you come, you won't leave. I know you won't leave because it's just so good. You get shows with Ned on, and you can. And that would be so entertaining.
He's doing one tomorrow, isn't he?
He is. He's doing the Premier podcast.
That's
tomorrow.
Popular, isn't it?
The Premier podcast he's doing.
I think it's Steve who makes it popular, though.
Yeah, and if you're on Premier, you can come. You can go on the Premier podcast because it is for our viewers. So, Ned, have we got any callers lined up? Okay, he's getting Paul in now. John, what have you made of this week? The fallout of everything.
It's madness, isn't it? I mean, real madness. I mean, some people appear to be sawing the branch that they're sat on, you know. And I suppose there's an inbound charm offensive due from the club, I think, because they've been beaten up, haven't they, by... I mean, TalkSport have done a number on them, really, or Sam and Jordan has, and the fans are not happy, and the stories seem a bit vague and a bit wobbly and all that sort of stuff. So if they've taken the time of silence to calm themselves down and come up with a plan, then let's see. Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, they did put out a stadium video today.
That's probably just due. And
I know, but it does wind people up, doesn't it?
It certainly does appear to wind up some people.
Stadium video.
Yeah, like guys, press pause on the stadium because we don't want that roof to go up till we need it. You know.
I know.
But I mean that is the only glimmer really of what's going on, isn't it? Is that the stadium is? I mean, there was a rumour earlier in the week we hadn't done anything on the site since December, and you think, do people not drive past? You know. So yeah, I mean that thing is still going up. It's funded to the end of the year. So the focus should be on the football team at the moment.
100%, yeah. The stadium will take care of itself, I imagine.
Absolutely.
Who've we got? Paul. Right, we've got Paul.
Listen.
Let's get our headphones on.
Where is Paul?
Paul, are you there? I know your dog's there. Are you there?
It's all right, Jen. Sorry about that.
It's all right, mate. Go on.
Shut him up there. I think he's an Evertonian
Definitely,
as well.
Yeah.
Paul.
Yeah, just to say about the just the sit-in and the aftermath.
Yeah.
Obviously, of the Southampton game, I did both, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
So had to sit in, marvellous, and to be honest, it was good in terms of, I know there's been a little bit of credit given to the stewards, and I was talking, to the stewards, and everything was great. But it was just a little bit about the aftermath, where you're seeing the young lads running after the cars. I must admit, when I was walking back to my own car afterwards, I did see the lads, and I just stood around. I was talking to the police as well, and there was no real, it's the way things are portrayed in the press, isn't it? There was no real sort of pitchforks at dawn and stuff like that. It was just people were upset, and there was a couple of lads saying, look, we want to see the players when they come out and stuff like that. I'm not condoning what happened with the cars, but ultimately it is the players that have got us in this position, innit? Do you know what I mean? So as much as I want to see the back of all the board and the owners and everybody, and I really do, these players are just complete letdowns, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? And again, I don't condone, the other bits and pieces we've seen with Anthony Gordon and whatnot, but the other bits and pieces, you look at when we went 2-1 down, okay, it was disastrous the way we went down, and Anthony Gordon's foul was abysmal, to say the least. But look at what happened after that. I can't think of an opportunity that we created after that. Heads dropped, complete lack of of anything, no penetration. And again, we resort back to what we've discussed, and certainly what you guys have discussed on previous shows. There's just nothing there. There is nothing there in terms of attack and force. Players we're being linked with now, Zapata, as if from Atalanta, 1 goal. Yeah. A winger, I can't even remember his name now, coming in from, or looking at from Rennes, 1 goal, 1 assist. It's nothing. It's no good compared to what we've got. So I just think that the players ultimately aren't good enough. The fans have now totally had enough. I've just seen there's going to be another protest going on at the Arsenal game and things like that. And I think the best we can hope for, Ped, is literally we can hopefully clean out this board and the owner. I know it's going to be difficult, but I can't see anything other than us going down, mate. There can. It's not being...
No, that's just being honest, isn't it? I mean, that's where we are. I mean, that's just where we are at the moment. I mean, John, I mean, just let's go first of all. I mean, the process was fine. There's no issues with that. It's just daft, isn't it? Kids doing daft things.
It was,
yeah. And once...
Go on, John. John Blaine, go on.
Oh, you just cut the guy off.
No, go on.
Sorry, no, I can hear you, John. Yeah.
Go on,
okay. I forgot what it was now. But yeah, it was kids ultimately, and that happens. But as you say, once the media get a hold of stuff, and if you got things on telephones and what have you, it all looks probably worse than it did, or it was in real life. Yeah. Clearly, Yerry fronted it up a bit, and Anthony just focused on the road, But you can't have 21-year-old kids sat in very expensive cars just having people scream at them and do stuff and think it makes much difference from a positive perspective, because it doesn't. No. Just like people who think one way to really pressure the club is to boycott going to the match and stuff. Well, that's not going to help the playing side. So I think it's really difficult for all concerned, but we, the fans, at the end of the day, we're the ones who've got stickability, aren't we? We're going to be here, frankly, when most of these, if not all these players have gone, and certainly when this board have gone, and maybe subsequent boards have gone. The constant is the fan base, and I just think it's just awful, and leadership is needed both on and off the field, and at the moment we're probably not getting it in either place.
Yeah, even just on, I think, was it on the BBC thing you shared with me yesterday, the football show on the BBC, John? I think someone even said on that about after the game, saying even Everton couldn't even get that right of knowing that there would be angry people outside the stadium and making sure the safety of the players, in cars and stuff. Why didn't they all come to the ground together and all leave together, or why were they going out exits where they knew there was going to be people still hanging around and all? And I know that's not have to deal with that, but it's still there's still a duty of care there, isn't there? I think a little bit.
There is, and I think, you know, maybe the shorthand of sawing the branch that you sat on. You know, when you start going public around fears of, you know, threats and these sorts of things, and you or the media are projecting that as these games become high risk. I guess they mean category A, right? And you know, there's a whole host of reasons why games get called that. You know, when a safety advisory group meets and so on. But you then expose yourself to, you know, and I don't mean the football crowd, but the crowd that is thousands upon thousands of people who can have an opinion.
Yeah.
And they start picking at everything you've done. So when you say this place is too dangerous for 3 or 4 directors, but it's not dangerous for 25 you know, millionaires who are professional footballers, when one of the board in question is at a fan event the night before.
Yeah, that is true. Graham Sharp was at a fan event in Chester on Friday night.
You know, so and there's some great photos. Graham does what he does really, really well, mingling with fans, probably never said no to a photograph from anybody, talked about his playing career, perhaps even got cajoled into talking about the challenges we have now. And all the photos I saw, he's smiling. And yet the next day, he's too scared to go near the ground. You know, it's just, the messaging is just off, you know. And so the club's PR people and communications people, I suppose, need to try and get hold of the narrative, as you might say.
Yeah.
And part of that needs to be some form of reconciliation with the fan base, right? So the football club can reconcile itself with the fan base. I suspect at the moment that the danger there is that'll be projected as the board reconciling with the fan base, and I think that will be much more difficult because actually we're all Blues and we bleed blue and all that sort of stuff. So you can't hate our football club for long. Yeah. But actually, once you've decided individuals or collectives of individuals are someone you don't like, then they stay like that, don't they? So it's really difficult, mate. So it becomes when, not if type situations. So
well, that's it. You know, it's sort of, I think it's frustrating in terms of, you know, obviously the relationship with the board. If we ever had one, that's never going to be sort of like resolved, is it? Let's be honest, because of the mistakes that have happened in the past. But even now, say they sacked Lampard after Saturday, they brought a Dice type figure in. Okay, we might have a little bit of an uplift, but I just can't see, if there's no additions to the squad, I can't see these getting us out of anything. And ultimately, it's them on the pitch, isn't it? We can do whatever we can. Let's be honest, that the welcome, okay, they huffed and puffed a little bit first half, but they didn't spark them, really, did they?
I think we all have to. I think we all. There's like that thing, isn't it, that Everton Football Club can't go down. Like, we will find a way. We will find a player. Someone will come good. But I think there has to be a realisation, and I've sort of had this out with Baz a couple of times, is that these players are just not very good, and there's no making them very good, I don't think. I think you've got a couple in Onana and Dominic Calvert-Lewin that have got potential, or whatever you want to call it, and obviously Jordan Pickford's a good goalkeeper, but as a collective, it's just not a good set of players. And the option, I mean, we were 2-1 down from what on Saturday, the last 15 minutes, and he made 2 subs. Yeah. What does that say about his squad? What does that say about the plays he's got available?
I think it says more about the manager than the squad.
But a bit of both, John. I agree. I've always criticised Frank Lampard's subs. I think they're abysmal.
They have been since we've seen him, and you only really see him when he's at your club, don't you? I mean, it depends. You know, people are half full, some people are half empty, whatever. If we fundamentally believe, I don't, by the way, that this is just the worst group of players known to man, then changing the manager makes no difference.
So if it's not the worst group of players, since what is the issue then?
Now?
Yeah.
It's deep and complex, I would imagine, which professionals would throw away statements, wouldn't they, about, you know, winning is habitual, you know, so is losing. We've all seen over the decade, depends how old you are, I suppose, but we've all seen over the decades what can happen when you get this atrocious group of players and a different manager treats them in a different way. You know, and that's my cliche. It's not what you do, it's the way that you do it. So we've spoken on this channel many times for months, perhaps even last season, that you know, the measure of a manager is, are you getting the full potential out of the players that you've got? And Frank, you know, he has to, you know, stand up to the fact he's not doing that. You saw, if you were at the stadium, how Anthony Gordon performed. Do we think that's Anthony Gordon's full potential? No, it is not, right? We saw him as a less mature player last season performing better. You know? And we've talked also about, is Frank a manager or is he a coach? And I think most people come down the side he's a manager. Well, that then puts focus on the coaches. But I think he's a manager in the context of, but I will make all the decisions. I cannot believe he's got guys sat on the bench with him saying, Frank, just
make a change.
Make a change for change's sake sometimes. That's what you have to do, isn't it? Send someone who's energetic, who's eager. Send Ellis Sims on to go and bang into some people. All a bit crude, you know. But wait until 10 minutes when they've made all their subs. They've decided we're going to keep what we've got. They're going to sit behind the ball and go break us down because we know you haven't done it all season. So why are you going to do it now? And they just managed the game out, didn't they? Very effectively.
If we get beat Saturday, Paul, would you sack him?
Yeah, I think 100%. How can you not? Because we are literally, you know, we're just free falling, aren't we? And you know, you look at it and you're thinking after West Ham. I know we say it all the time. Where's the next points coming from? But realistically, you know, where are the next points coming from? I can't feel
if they don't come Saturday, then you really are struggling.
You see, if you sack this manager after Saturday, right, because we've either not won or lost, depending on where your line is, you ask yourself, why didn't you do it after Bournemouth?
No, I 100% agree.
100%
because what you've done is you've just knocked whatever it is, half a dozen games off. You know, the time that the new manager's got. A new manager could have had 6 weeks to work with the vast majority of the squad, blah, blah, blah. And I think indecision is a challenge our football club has because of the way the hierarchy is a hierarchy. You know, it's quite linear. You know, A works for B, works for C, reports to D. You know, and there's no width to it. There's no bandwidth on that board. We've talked forever about it needs to be strengthening in itself. And I know you guys, you and Baz did something yesterday, didn't you, about making the board bigger, having non-executives, having experts. You know, a comms expert might not have allowed some of the stuff that's happened to happen.
Absolutely.
You know? And so on. So it's all broken. And so it's inevitable that we will think to ourselves, we're just waiting to May. And then when the championship fixtures come out 6 weeks later.
God.
That's what we're...
More work, thanks.
Yeah, extra games.
More work, extra games.
It makes our our football club will probably advertise that actually we're getting better value for our season tickets because we're getting extra games. You know.
So sad.
I know.
But thanks for
brilliant, Paul. Thanks for having you on, mate.
Cheers, Paul.
Lovely, lads.
Mate.
Good work.
Cheers, mate. See you later.
The thing is, though, while we're just closing that out, you win a game and then you win another one, and all this league at the moment. It can all turn.
Oh, John, I 100% agree. The problem is, and this is, I've seen this, you win a couple of games, or if you just, and I think this is the best one, it's not even about winning games, I think the best one is, if so-and-so had just taken his chance. But isn't that the problem? It's not that. It's not even that Everton are sort of like bad. They do create moments. They just can't take, like Anthony Gordon's chance in the Wolves game. You know, the Dominic Calvert-Lewin one, it was a bit fluky because it hit the bar. You don't know where it would have won. But there's
Mikalenko.
Look at it. I tell you one we did. The Iwobi one on Saturday. We were 1-0 up and he curls that one just wide. If that goes in, you're 2-0 up. We're winning that game. But it's been those moments all season. And when those moments are all season, and you know that's part of the problem, we can't put the ball in the back of the net. Listen, if we could get a Kevin Campbell kind of signing, someone who you just go, you know what, this fella will put the ball in the back of the net, then maybe we would be safe. Maybe we would have made it 2-0 on Saturday and wouldn't have looked back and then can shut up shop. I think when we go 1-0 up, we're a bit like, do we stick or we twist?
I think that's true, actually. And you know, I don't think the manager perhaps is good at motivation and talking to players because we often come out the second half, you know, and for 15 minutes the other side has all the initiative, and when people talk on social media that just gets short-handed, doesn't it, to out-coach by the opposition manager or first team coach again.
It's the most basic thing in football, isn't it? You always know if you're 1-0 up at half time that the first 10 minutes you're going to be on the back foot if you're not careful, And it doesn't matter what level, it doesn't matter whether it's Pep Guardiola or someone at the Dog and Duck. It happens. You come out with an impetus because you've just had a break. You had new instructions given to you, and you will go out and you will just go, right, get into these. But you always say, these will come have a go at you. So
the most critical goal in the game is the second one.
Yeah. And
if there is a second one, that's the most critical. Because Craig had been at FA Cup finals decades upon decades ago, battering a team half time. They're fighting with each other, blah, blah, blah. We make a mistake, they score and they win. And they all had the wrong colour shirts on.
2012.
I'm talking about
86.
The first Merseyside FA Cup final.
86.
Yeah. You know, and goals change games.
But that's it, isn't it? That's it. Right, we've got Dan on the line.
Oh, Dan the man, yeah.
Go on, Dan.
Tell us where you are, Dan, because it might be somewhere really exotic.
Hello, Dan.
Oh, Dan's gone.
Hello, Dan. Dan, go on. You're on here.
Dan.
Oh, he's in South London, is right, mate?
We're about in South London. Okay. South London, then.
Okay.
Really, it's just kind of twofold. First off, you guys do a great show.
Oh, thanks,
Big
mate.
fan, and really appreciate the Is Everton Broken video, because that genuinely felt like therapy.
Good man. It wasn't for us. Well, maybe it was for us, yeah.
But I just, even if you put all of those problems in a bottle and say, okay, right, we're going to leave those there. What disappoints me seemingly every day with Everton is that, and you touched on it there, John, like, where is the leadership? Where's someone standing up saying, these are the things we've done wrong in the last 7 years. We know what we're doing is not working. So let's do something different. Like, where's someone who's going to look at this as the opportunity that it could be to make us the club that we once were again? And the romantic side of me is kind of thinking, well, on at least as far as the playing stuff goes, could Rooney not be that guy? Because he'd have to play the hand he's dealt here. And if we can't afford to bring anyone in, and we're scraping the bottom of the barrel with a 33-year-old centre back, 32-year-old striker who might still turn us down, and Rooney will come in and go, well, I'm gonna blood in the youth, and they might not be ready, but we'll never know until we try. And I honestly think Lampard, as nice as he comes across, like, I just don't see any coaching ideas. But one thing you can't throw at Rooney is when he went to Derby, he had coaching ideas. He sort of moulded a team around that. And if it wasn't for that points deduction, I think it'd have been all right.
It was mid-table, weren't they?
Yeah.
With a decimated squad. Yeah. You know.
Exactly. I just feel...
Go on.
Yeah, go on, sorry.
Go on, Dan. Sorry, go on. Finish your point, mate.
I just feel like the chips are down now with us, and the days of wanting a blue chip manager, they're long gone. And it's funny that the manager with the worst record since Mike Walker is the one who's getting the most leeway with the board. No other manager survives this.
You're absolutely right, mate.
That might be something to do with the pressure the board itself finds itself on.
Let me just... I'll just let you in on a little secret here on Wayne Rooney. So, Wayne...
Was this at the Hamilton you got this?
You were with the Hamilton, in Washington. Wayne, we had a good chat with Wayne when we were in America. And he told us what his coaching philosophy. And actually, he doesn't do a lot of coaching himself. He told us this. He's in the Sir Alex Ferguson school of management, which is it's all man management. It's all obviously tactics and all that kind of thing, but it's all a lot of the mental game. I was actually shocked by it, to be honest, because you wouldn't associate that with Wayne Rooney, but he actually came out and he was like, and funny enough, his coach was there, Pete, and Pete's an Evertonian, and if he did come to Everton, he'd bring Pete with him, and Pete's
man,
desperate.
wasn't it? Yeah.
Pete is desperate to come to Everton. I know that.
Get the good job, Wayne, so I can come with you.
He DMs our Twitter account quite a lot. And he has people around him who do all the coaching for him, like Sir Alex Ferguson did. And Wayne is a hands-on man management. He's into all the motivational kind of thing, and getting everything, and all. He's into like new stuff as well, so what will get the most out of the players fitness wise. And he's a very, very switched on guy. Actually, when we spoke to him, I think that people get this idea that he might. I don't know why people would think this, but I think people think he's like some kind of grunt.
They think he's a 16-year-old boy.
Yeah, exactly what you do, because you have that thing of him, don't you? But
Yeah.
he's actually, when he spoke to us, his philosophies on football are very different to what people might think. And funny enough, Duncan Ferguson told us the same thing. He was like, everyone thinks I'm going to be a 4-4-2, bang it long. He was like, no, I want to play football. He said, but you don't always get a chance to. So I think for me, and I know Baz is very much on the Rooney train, I don't know really where I am, because there's a school of thought where it's like, well, what has he done? Where's he been? Okay, he's been at Derby, now he's in America, big deal. But the fella who's top of the league at the moment's doing all right for himself, considering that he was the assistant manager to, Pep Guardiola. And don't get me wrong, the amount of knowledge that must be knocking around Manchester City, and if you soak that up, then that is huge. I mean, I don't subscribe to this thing that, he was just like sat there and took notes. He will have soaked a lot of that up, and he will have done a lot of training sessions and stuff. And he's took his own football philosophy, much of which he will have learned under David Moyes as well, ironically enough. So it is, and I think with Wayne, I think what's interesting is that it's like if Everton were in a position, let's say, where like we were 100% going down. And you said, right, Wayne, take it, have a good look at it, see what you think, and then we build this back in your image, then I'd 100% say Wayne Rooney is to our next manager. I just don't know if you can quite do that right now, and I don't think this board would have the bottle to do that, because they didn't have the bottle to do that 12 months ago. No matter what anybody says, no matter what anyone says or anything you've heard, they did not have the bottle to do that 12 months ago, and they give it to Frank Lampard. So has anything changed in that 12 months? I don't know. Wayne Rooney's got more experience, so it's a really, really interesting one.
So where are you?
Yeah.
Where are you
Yeah.
then? You're saying if the manager gets sacked this weekend, you're saying that's too soon for Wayne Rooney?
I'm not saying it. I don't know.
I'm asking you.
Because I don't know. Dan, what's your thoughts on it?
I think we got to place a bet on someone, and they got to find some bottle from somewhere, because again, like I said, 7 years of bad decisions. They've got to break that streak at some point. And I'd rather potentially go down with someone like Rooney at the helm and then potentially come back up, because I mean, you just can't get rid of Lampard's record. It's horrendous.
It's horrendous.
So
if his name was something Spanish, and he was slightly bald, well, he was a lot balding, and he knew the city, then you'd go, this is disgraceful. If Frank Lampard had any kind of affiliation to Liverpool Football Club, he'd have been ran out of town by now, wouldn't he? Simple as that.
They've got to find some bravery. They have to find some leadership. I feel like he could, even with, because if you look at prior to Mashiri, we cut our cloth accordingly. We had Moyes coming from Preston. He had his war room where he did a lot of the scouting himself, and
his dad.
We had a really really tight budget. And the problem was, like, it reminds me of in Moneyball. There's a scene where they're in the scouting room, and Billy Bean says, if we think like the Yankees in here, we'll lose to the Yankees out there. And when Mashiri came in with his blank checkbook, we thought, we're big time again. We're just going to pay anyone whatever they want. And that has just set us up massively for failure. And that we know what not to do now. How can you have a body of evidence of 7 years of bad decisions? We have to break that streak. We have to get brave and find some bottles somewhere.
Do you think, Dan, and I suppose
wise words, mate.
I think this is a question for John as well. Do you think that that's gone now? Do you think that the only way we can think in other terms is by having a different owner or a different board after everything that's gone on? Because they don't seem to be learning those lessons, do they, themselves?
No. I mean, it's tough. It should be another board, and he should be putting his hands up in the air and saying, I have let everyone down. I've let Everton down, every single fan who has been and will be. I've let them down in this history. But we know he'll never own up to that. But he's not, and there's no more sacrificial lambs. That went out the window with Brand. So there's no one he can throw under the bus. Everyone knows it falls down to Mashiri. The only way back for him is for him to go, oh yeah, the stadium's great, but this is what I'm doing now for the team. And he has to make those decisions. Will he? Probably not, but I have to live in hope.
No, we all do, don't
fans,
we? Dan,
we do.
Sorry, John. John, what are your thoughts on that then? About the board
I
and
think,
stuff?
without debating it for days, because we could.
Well, we have done.
yeah. There's a sporting analogy, which is if we keep the same manager, regardless, i.e. Frank, with the same squad, i.e. we don't add to it to any significance, we are getting relegated. End of. Okay? If we change the manager, we probably improve our chances slightly, but may still get relegated. Yeah. Right? If we keep the manager and give him better tools, i.e. a couple of players we think we need, then we improve our chances. Yeah. The same sort of applies at let's call it the boardroom. Yeah. This board with this owner can't do it. Yeah. This board, perversely, don't shoot me, people, please. No, just say, John. This board with a different owner, might be able to. Okay. Or
what about this owner with a different board?
I've done the last bit.
Go on.
Save the best till the end.
Go on.
This owner with a better board, which may or may not include some of the ones we've got, but probably not, might be able to do it. The point being, sitting on your hands and waiting till tomorrow isn't going to cut it for anybody. And because the fan campaigns, I think it's a bit disjointed because it doesn't know what it wants to do. It doesn't want to get rid of the board, doesn't want to get rid of the owner, doesn't want to get rid of everybody, because all those bring the questions about, well, who runs the place then? How long does that take? If people are all in the departure lounge, are they really pulling their weight? Blah 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 blah. And so it all comes down to there's only one person with absolute authority to do whatever ultimately he wants to do, and that's the owner. So on the basis the owner is not going to sack himself, then he needs to make the board better. Absolutely. And the fear I have is that, and I always say this when we're doing the businessy stuff, projects go late one day at a time. For us, we get closer to relegation one game at a time, and every game we waste before we sack the manager, for example, is one less game the new manager has. So it almost comes to a point, and maybe the board think they've passed it already, is it's too late to sack this manager now. We have to put all our eggs in the basket of getting the players for him, which means we're going to be in this purgatory until the end of this month. And then come the 1st or 2nd of February, we'll all reflect and go, wow, where do we find ourselves? Yeah,
absolutely.
By which time it could way be too late.
Yeah. Anything more to add, mate?
No, just thanks.
You just sounded so despondent. No.
Yeah, on a wing and a prayer. I mean, like I say, we've all got hope. Fingers crossed, they do something.
Are you going to the game at the weekend?
No, definitely not. I can't even bring myself to watch it anymore. It's just I'm at that stage.
You're not the only one. You're not the only one.
I'll listen to the radio, but
lots of dogs are going to get walked on Saturday afternoon, I think.
Yeah. Grim. But I appreciate the work.
Thanks for the call anyway, and
cheers,
keep safe down in South London. See you later.
Cheers. See ya. Bye.
That was good. Yeah. Good man.
What a film, by the way. Moneyball. What a film. By the way, do you know what? Somewhere in this studio, we have a signed copy of the book.
No.
Astro sent us it. He sent us it. It's in here somewhere.
And you don't even know where it is.
It's in here somewhere. Well, Ned probably took it home. Probably uses it as a rock for his lizard.
He's not. His body he can't read.
You can read. You've got a degree, man.
First class degree, and you can't read.
Which I basically got for you.
Yeah,
essentially. Right. It is true though, isn't it? I was your real tutor. I taught you everything you know, apart from playing guitar, which you are quite good at.
Right. Anyway, good film. It's true.
It's a brilliant film. I love it.
And it's a film you can watch over and over again.
Oh, I always watch it. I love it. It basically frames all my sporting decisions. Just do what they did. I know they didn't win anything in the end, but there you go.
We can't beat them at their games, so we'll beat them at ours.
Create your own.
Yeah.
And the mad thing is, the Liverpool owner's in at the end and basically says the same thing, and he owns the big club, or the second biggest club.
Just copies it, doesn't he?
And he steals it, doesn't he, essentially? We've got Adam. Come on, flying in. We've got Adam. Adam, are you there?
Come on, Adam, man.
Is Adam there, Ned? Tell him to unmute himself then.
Unmute yourself,
You've got
Adam.
the power, Ned.
Come on, man. We're waiting for you.
You've got the power. It's just dead air, this ad. Come on, mate.
Oh.
I can hear something. What's going on? Adam. Shout at him, Ned. Bang on the screen.
Can you hear me?
Adam, we can hear you, mate. Go on.
There. Hi, Adam.
Sorry. My girlfriend's just rang me as I was about.
My dog's just at my homework. Go on, mate.
He's on a promise.
I'm gonna have to keep it quick, fellas.
Go on, keep it quick. Go on.
Yeah, I mean, it's impossible to keep it quick because there's so much to talk about.
Yeah.
But, I think just carrying on from what you was just saying there, I think I'm sort of at the point now where the boards aren't doing anything, which, to be honest, right, comparing Lampard's stats to Benitez, they do look terrible. But I think the difference between Lampard and Benitez was everybody knew from the start that Benitez wasn't the man for the job. And let's face it, this is a hugely experienced, world-renowned manager in Benitez who's come in with these stats, whereas Lampard, but adds a bit of context to it. Yeah, he's raw. Yeah, I agree with you, Pez. His substitutions are terrible. His game management is poor. But I think if you can give him, you call me stupid, call me hopeful.
You sound like you're about to be wise.
I think if you can give him some sort of players, I think he's proved in the past that he can get a tune out of the team, because if you think back not too far ago in October, and we absolutely tongued Palace, albeit they had one midfielder, but still they set out a really strong team. We absolutely played them off the park. We've proved that we can be resilient away from home. Look at Brentford, look at Man City, look at Southampton.
Southampton.
Yeah, Leeds. Where we're really, really under the cosh, and we've managed to scrape something out of it. Now, I don't know where
something
it's all
changed though,
wrong
didn't it? Yeah,
home.
something changed around.
I don't know where it's all gone wrong. I can't pinpoint it.
The Man United game obviously was the one where it's changed, or the Spurs game. You think about how crucial those two misses were against Spurs in the first half. They were just, I don't know, those couple of games just took the confidence. The Man United game being 1-0 up and then suddenly stopped playing and played into their hands, essentially. And then you just watch the confidence thing, because you are right. But what I would say is just a couple of your points. Just on the Benitez thing, you're absolutely right, because Benitez, people don't understand the damage Benitez done to Everton Football Club. It was internally at the club. He got Marcel Brands to sack, essentially. He basically, you're absolutely right, you said Marcel Brands was the fall guy, but he was an easy fall guy, because when he was sacked or he walked away, he wasn't actually doing anything. He was basically on gardening leave, because Benitez had dismantled the recruitment team. He brought in his own men, and every time Brands went to get someone like Denzel Dumfries, Benitez was talking behind his back to the agents and stuff like that, going, it's not happening. I'm deciding who was coming here. And because he was far-out man by that point, the whole of the, I'm not just saying one man, by the way, the whole of the recruitment team were basically literally put on gardening leave in one of them actually was put on gardening leave, funny enough, literally. So that, and I think the other thing about Frank is, Frank might be a good manager. It's just whether he's the right manager for us right now. And it's sort of that Marco Silva thing, isn't it? It's like Marco Silva's flying. He's got his team. He's got it all in place. He had a year to set it up in the Championship, and they're absolutely flying for him. And when he was at us, he just looked lost in that second season. So I think it's all about timing and backing as well, isn't it? And I think that all comes back again to the board, I think. And that's where I mean, I know Frank Lampard probably shouldn't be our manager, but I'm not banging the drum for it, because I just think, what's the point? What is the point?
And let's have it right. When Silva was relieved, it was rightfully so. Like we were poor. We were in the same situation that we're in now. We were sitting there thinking, there is no way that this man can turn it round. He just looks like he'd lost the job or like weeks before he should have went. Yeah. Which again, he probably should have, and we held on to him for too long. Probably at the time again. I can't remember that far behind. Feels like it's been 20 years.
I can, because it's literally etched on my brain what happened to Marco Silva. But that's a story for another day. But it is good coach.
I think in terms of moving forward, the sit-ins are great. I think not as a criticism whatsoever, because I'm fully behind it all. But I think some of the flags, I think if you're going to spread them out around the ground, they need to be a bit bigger, because if you're getting a blue flag and you're hanging them off the upper bullens, they blend in, don't they, with the blue the blue wall. Where
one
they're gonna
huge
be.
flag
Some of them
would be better than lots
Yeah,
of
get
tiny
4
ones.
huge flags,
Yeah.
each for each stand. I mean, I'm not critical.
You get lost, I think.
The guys who
if they're
put
not
them,
together.
some of the things someone's described the other day, some of the things on them are like from Cat in the Hat, aren't they? It's some brilliant rhyming going on. No, you are right in a way, because ultimately, what a sit-in is and what flags are, they're just trying to get a message across, aren't they?
And it's media attention. Yeah.
And you just try, and you are right in a way. I know it's not really it's constructive criticism. It's like get big, massive flags that say exactly what you want on them to get the message.
And I get it.
across.
People want to get involved, and people don't want to be sitting there thinking, oh, it's just everyone in GT4 and in the lower classes. Like, I completely get that.
Yeah.
But I think if you want to get coverage, I think a flag saying you can't run a bath, which is going to get stuck in the corner of the ground, isn't really going to do anything, really, is it? Being real.
Grant Ingles' flag's not doing anything for anyone, is it?
Graham Sharp.
I like the sentiment.
I think if they come out and said, listen, right, this is what Grant Ingles does, this is what these does, this is what he does, this is what he does, we could sort of have a better idea of like what's going on at least. And I mean, for all we know, this Grant Ingles is an accountant. He could probably be doing how the board do strategically in the next 5 years. For all we know, you know what I mean? He could be doing things that are completely out of his realm, which he probably is, because everybody on that board isn't doing a great job. So, you know, it wouldn't surprise me that, like everybody says, there's no plan and there's no structure. I bet you they're doing bloody all sorts what they shouldn't be doing on that board.
It might have passed people by, but Grant is both finance and strategy director.
There you go.
Well,
John
there you go.
Blaine. So what
An
does
accountant.
Adam, I'll let you go because I know you've got to go back to work. And then I'm going to get
All right.
and then I'm going to get John Blaine to tell us what Grant Ingles does. So keep listening.
Nice
All
one,
right, mate.
fellas.
See you
Take it easy.
later. So what does Grant Ingles do? Come on.
The job title is what I just said. Grant's actually a pretty good accountant.
Yeah.
I know there's stories and people have views that if our numbers are so rubbish, it must be his fault.
Yeah.
But actually, management decisions drive the numbers, and he adds them up.
Yeah,
you know.
that's it.
And you know, he's worked for some decent football clubs, ones who've won things and stuff. The strategy bit, I don't get it. I know the man. I've met him. I personally just don't think he's necessarily a strategist. He's a practitioner.
Is
right?
one of the issues that at Everton that we all well aware of, is it that too many people wear too many hats? So it's essentially the same opinion on two different subjects, rather than saying we're going to have Grant Ingles doing that, and then we're going to have a strategist doing that, and then that's two different points of view when it comes to those important meetings. Or, you know, we have people who are the a commercial director and a communications director at the same time, or those. Do you know what I mean? Why not employ two different people?
I don't know. I think there must be some form of policy there that has decided we're going to have a very small board, numerically. I mean, when you talk about comms and commercial, you know, that's Richard Kenyon, and he's not on the board. Yeah. So clearly, I mean, when I've done my business matters stuff, and I do it here as well, it's since Mashiri walked through the door, we needed a very heavyweight commercial guy at board level. Yeah. Asking a comms guy to be commercial as well, almost
just because he helped design the badge.
Well, that's right, you know, and he ran a process. But the thing is, you know, if I go back to my day job from 10 plus years ago now, since I've stopped doing any work for anyone really, but many big organisations struggle with what the hell do sales guys do? They think you just take orders, and actually no, it's a complex environment whereby you are nudging people in the right direction and so on and so forth. And yet communications is something completely different. It's factually based and stuff. I just don't believe you can have someone who's got two hats like that. Yeah, commercial and comms, because both of them are full-time jobs. Absolutely.
Talkie McTalkface on the super chat says, imagine Reedy with a man bag or Dyche managing it. I can't imagine Reedy with a man bag, but there you go.
Bet he's got one.
He probably has. He's like he loves his yoga and all that, doesn't he? I think. Right, we got Brian.
Yeah. All right.
Is it Swedish? It's Swedish, Brian. Yeah.
Is he in Sweden?
It is.
He's in Sweden. You've met Brian. You met Brian at the night. Yeah.
Yeah.
You all right, Brian?
Very briefly. Not bad. Good comment on all kinds of things we've been talking about. Primarily about Lampard. I think given the tools that he needed, we'd be mid-table, but no better. That just shows you how bad the purchases were in the summer, and that's what's that down to. He's just not been given the tools to get the job done with. He's not a brilliant manager. He's proved it. not very good at managing games. But if he'd been given a couple of proper strikers, then we would be mid-table.
Safe.
But anyway, that's the board.
You're right, Brian.
Well, yeah,
You are,
basically.
Brian. You're right.
But what struck me about the Baxendale case from the very beginning was it was portrayed that it was regular fans like us who got her in an
alleged headlock, yeah.
Have to use
Just
a leg.
protecting ourselves there, Brian. Go on.
Well, no comments, not today. All the stock you need. Anyway, the way it was portrayed, it was like regular fans like us. And the thing is, she doesn't mix with regular fans like us. She's in the corporate areas. Now, the way it was portrayed it was one of us, and therefore it was bullying and it was aggressive. Now, if it had been portrayed as it was somebody who from the corporate area who'd having put an arm lock as a bit of a jest, none of this kerfuffle, none of this mess would have happened.
Yeah.
And I think it'd been portrayed so badly in the media, by the media, possibly for the media, but they painted the scenario in a totally wrong way. And I think it's another sign that the board or whoever's responsible for putting this stuff out is incompetent and should not be around anymore, whoever that might be. So that's my big question about it. Plus that it's the consequence, of course, is the board lost the supporters completely. No one, or maybe 10% of the supporters could have faith in this sport anymore. And I just cannot see how they can survive, how they can stay in their positions. John knows better than that how easy, difficult it is to replace them. What kind of time span we're looking at there. And getting, of course, the right people. But this should have been done after the original takeover, as we all know. And, well, that's my main point. Good to go on about other stuff as well, but that's my main.
It's been a long 7 years, hasn't it?
Ooh, hello, sir. Yeah.
Go on, John. What's your take on that?
Sorry.
What's your take on obviously, well, what we should have done
all those years ago?
Yeah.
Brought in better people into those key roles. I mean, key role, clearly our commercial performance was always poor, under Robert Elston. And so a key commercial appointment would have helped. I think perhaps we should have, during the journey, said, if we're going to do a stadium thing, we need an executive who's totally focused on the stadium, because clearly Denise did that job. Yeah. And we've just been talking about people with multiple hats. Yeah. So who knows how much of what she would have done as chief exec she didn't do because she was leading a stadium project. Okay. And so when you have very little bandwidth at a board, and then over time you find out perhaps they lack experience and competencies which are necessary, then that's like a double whammy from a negative point of view, isn't it? But we did flirt with this, don't forget. We had Keith Harris, we had Sasha Ryzantsev, we had, I can't remember the nephew's name.
The nephew, yeah.
And so that was about external influences, wasn't it, really? That was, Usmanov whispering in. But, we had people in the nose, whatever, talking for yonks that Usmanov had nothing to do with this business.
Yeah, we did, But
and now everyone accepts, oh, yes, he did, right? So you wouldn't have done it the way we've done it. No. Loads of promotion from within has taken place. I mean, it'd be interesting to look, actually, if you could find all the people who were here 6 or 7 years ago and what was their job titles and what are they now. Yeah. I suspect we might sadly find that lots of people have got really fancy job titles and are doing very much what they were doing all those years ago, which means we haven't stepped up in the off-field sense, and we, by definition, therefore, haven't stepped up on the field. And during that time, if there's it's classic, isn't it, really? If you could do one thing, what would it be? A board that could control the owner.
Yeah.
Right? And maybe the owner has felt for all those years that he had to intervene because the board weren't doing it. So you got that conundrum, haven't you? They think he hasn't let them get on with it, and he thinks when I do let them get on with it, they don't do it. So something has to give, doesn't it?
Would the board, I mean, if he actually put his people on a board, though, wouldn't they be able to control them if they were if they were his people?
Sasha Ryzantsev was one of his people.
Yeah.
Oh, probably Usmanov's person, but even so, it was there at the behest. Keith Harris, I very much doubt Bill Kenwright or Denise wanted Keith Harris on the board. And those guys proved not to be the real deal that perhaps Farhad thought they were. I think it's wrong to say about Farhad putting his own people in. It's what's right is you bring in better people.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you do with every business all the time. We claim we do it, not Everton, obviously, but football clubs would say, we've got England's number one, right?
Yeah.
A goalkeeper. If we could get a better goalkeeper,
You get a better goal.
depends how you define better. Cost us less,
Yeah.
is taller, whatever. Yeah, because we don't get full value out of him for distribution because we don't have any movement. You do the same off the field. If there's a guy out there or a lady out there who's a better finance director, go get them and dump your current one.
Yeah.
Same with your chief exec, same with your chair, same with your commercial person, same with your comms person. So everybody has to raise their game. And I just think that because projects go late one day at a time, you suddenly stop and you look back and you go, oh my God, it's been 6 or 7 years.
Yeah.
6 or 7 years, you know? It's unbelievable. Truly unbelievable. 7 years of our lives we will never get back.
Never.
And I'm nearer to the end than you guys, so, you know, it means more to me.
But yeah, there you go. But go on. Have you got a final point for us?
Yeah, just I'm not far behind you, John.
Oh, good man, but you are behind me.
What it is, yeah, well,
Just 'cause
you
you're
do
young.
remember me, 'cause we're the first.
Go on.
We're the first callers who've insulted each other live a year or so ago. But you're absolutely right. I agree, because what we've done is we're stagnated.
Yes, absolutely.
Because there's been no new blood, no new ideas, fresh thoughts coming into the club. We've stagnated.
Yeah.
And there lies the problem. And as I said before, I cannot understand how the owner could allow it to happen, and how to lose so much money year after year is just baffling to me.
It's unbelievable. Maybe huge dividends from USM meant he thought he could just live with it, you know.
You know, but by alienating the fan base now, he's gone too far. As Baz said, was it yesterday? He said something about, we even got Coleman to change the baubles on the Christmas tree. I mean, we don't.
Oh, he was on the sofa. He said it.
Yeah. We give people a chance. Evertonians. We are not the horrible people we're purveyed to be.
Bravo.
We're not that horrible fan base. We give everyone a chance, and once they show that they're not up to it, then we react. But it's like the old frog in the kettle, you know. You turn in the saucepan, you turn the kettle, they turn the temperature up slowly, and you don't really notice. But you put your arse in a boiling water, then it's out straight away, you know. And that's where we've been going. I feel that's described it quite well. So we're stagnating, and we're sadly on our way down. I can't see it turning out any other way. We do have the opportunity. We've got 2 weeks to give Lampard the tools he needs, because, as I said, you can't even see Brian Clough getting goals out of this squad.
Well, he's dead. That's probably why.
Well, that might have something to do with it.
Right, Brian. Nice to have you on, mate.
Good one, Brian. Thank
See
you.
later.
Right, take care now.
Ta-ra. Brian in Sweden. Over in Sweden.
Yeah.
Freezing there.
He did go to 2 events, though.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He came to ours, didn't he?
Always comes over, Brian. Always comes over. The match preview's out on Toffee TV Premier. You can watch that after we finish. No, like you were saying there, though, there's so many people have like there's been I mean, people might notice, you'll notice, I'll notice, our job to notice. It's like the board doesn't feel like it ever changes, and yet there is almost like a massive turnover of staff that have worked for Everton in the Liver buildings and beforehand, and there'll have people who've moved on to do better things. I see it because I'm on LinkedIn with half of them, so I see when they all get new jobs.
Oh, when they move, you get a little.
I see when they all move.
We got Mark.
We have got Mark. Let's put Mark on then before we. Last one, Ned. Hello, Mark. All right, Mark. Okay.
Yeah, not too bad, mate. How you guys getting on?
All right. Where are you, mate?
Actually, down south, not far from Windsor.
Oh, okay.
Right, mate. I thought you sounded like you were from Liverpool. Windsor, lovely part of the world. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a bit distant. So I'm a bit out of the troubles. You guys are kind of ground zero.
Yeah, absolutely ground zero.
You're a safe distance.
Open the window, we can see Finch Farm. That's how close we are from ground zero. Go on, Mark, what's your point, mate?
We're just calling in firstly. I only joined Patreon yesterday.
Oh, well done, you.
Nice one. Toffee TV Premier, as it's called.
Yeah, indeed, yeah.
Get the branding right, Mark. Come on.
Sorry, just to support you guys,
Thank you.
I think you do a fantastic job.
Thank
and
you.
Now more than ever, I think it's important that we know what sources we can rely on for our news, especially what's going on with our club. So just to say thank you to begin with to you guys, and then just 2 quick points.
Go on, mate.
I'd seen online earlier on this afternoon that the Everton Shareholders Association has released a survey asking for people to vote on a vote of no confidence in the board.
Yeah.
And I didn't know if that was a
petition. Yeah,
a real thing about. Yeah, petition. Sorry, that's the right word. And there wasn't that many. I think there was only a few thousand signatures on it when I saw it. So I thought this would be a good platform to advertise the fact that that's out there, and if other people wanted to sign it up, because we need to get them out. The second thing was I'm very much like a prepare for the worst, hope for the best sort of attitude. With that in mind, with the relegation being a real possibility, how would that affect FFP? Would that zero that out if we were to then get back up into the Premiership? Or
well, John's the man for that. Go on, John.
Well, FFP really only applies if we're playing in Europe, so I don't think that's a big deal. I think more relevantly, which is what I guess would use FFP as shorthand for all the financial profitability and sustainability. If we get relegated, then we will drop at least £50 million in income. You know, because that's the gap between what broadcast income would be, say, this season, and the parachute payment, which is 55% or whatever it is of the number. And that would be 5 sales of players ultimately. Yeah. So we would have to move up. Well, players are going to want to go anyway, aren't they, if we get relegated? You know? Yeah, you're talking. England's number one is going to want to play in the Championship.
Straight off the bat, you're talking about Onana gone, you're talking about Pickford gone, you're talking about Dominic Calvert-Lewin gone, you're probably talking maybe Ben Godfrey gone because he's a sellable asset. Yep. You're looking at. I mean, it's not going to be a fire sale. You're not going to get rid of everybody because
no. It'll be a buyer's market though.
Yeah, but also what you got to remember is forget all that. You got to remember about staff who work at Everton as well.
That's where the really hardships are going to come.
Of staff who work at Everton that will simply not be required.
That's right.
You know, there'll be loads of departments at Everton that they just won't need as many people as they have now because, you know, straight off the bat, will he need as many people in the media team? Because will he be dealing with as many requests for media, and will he have to do as many bits and bobs? I doubt that. So you're talking about lots and lots of people losing their jobs at the club as well. So it's not just about, like, you know, Dominic Calvert-Lewin will get a nice move to Newcastle or something, or Jordan Pickford getting a move to Spurs. You're talking about people on boots on the ground are going to lose their jobs, and that's the real sad part.
It is.
You know, in terms of in FFP or what we're going to lose a massive chunk of money.
Absolutely.
But it's all relative to, I would suppose, to the people. If we did get relegated, obviously we'd be going to a division with other teams who were relative
in the Championship. We'd be the whale financially.
Of course we would, yeah. And I truly believe people would still go the match.
Well, I would.
Okay, maybe people who come from around the world or whatever might go, I can't be bothered with this or whatever. I can get that. But I do still think we would still go the match and we would get a lot of money that way and we'd be on TV loads.
We would.
So get ready for loads of ridiculous kick-off times and stuff like that. But it would be a massive drop of cash.
You know what? Because is this the last thing?
We've got one more after this.
Okay, well, I'll just say something about this because you guys are probably too young. But when the most disastrous thing that could possibly have happened many, many years ago, and the great, at the time, sort of, Manchester United got relegated, they had a ball in the second division.
Yeah.
They breezed the goddamn thing, sold out home and away, non-stop, and our fans are crazy enough to do that. So let's hope it never happens, but if it does, and it is an important point here, if you're going to come back, you have to come back straight away.
Yeah, you have to come back.
It gets harder each year.
Yeah. Okay, then, boys. Well, thanks for taking the call.
Nice one, mate. Make sure you give us a call every week. And,
appreciate that,
stay
mate.
involved.
I'll definitely try to, and hopefully 3 points.
That's it, mate. That's all we can hope for, isn't it? 3 points Saturday.
Yeah, take it week by week. All right, cheers, boys.
See you later.
Cheers, mate. Take care.
So just the people in the comments saying stop whinging, we're only halfway through the season.
They're quite right, aren't they, really?
They are quite right, but we're halfway through the season with 15 points.
Yeah.
And if we match that, we'll have 30 points and we'll be relegated.
30 might keep us up, you know.
No, it won't. It will definitely not keep us up. So I understand people saying, it's only halfway through the season. Do you know if we had 20 points, I'd be like, yeah, okay, because if we match that, we'll get 40 points. We've got 15 points. And we know what we need, and we're not getting it as it stands.
I think I'm with you sort of on both camps, really. It is early doors, but our early door type optimism is we've either changed the manager or we've added players or we've done both. Yeah.
There you go. We got Steve.
Hi, lads, you alright?
Steve Kelly, former sexiest member of the fans forum.
Oh God! Don't even get me started.
It's like when Robbie Williams left. Take that, mate.
I know. He went on to
He went on to better things, mate. Better things.
George just advertises coffee now, doesn't he? So.
No. Firstly, people obviously in the comments in regards to the season not being only halfway through, people need to realise we've just played potentially 3 of the worst teams in the Premier League, and we're also about to play probably 3 of the best teams.
Yeah.
Well, 2 of the best teams in the league.
And we've got Arsenal twice.
Yeah, and we've got Arsenal twice. Still got to play Man City at home, Man United away.
Liverpool away.
Also at Liverpool, that's a write-off, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
But just wanted a few things, really.
Go on, mate.
Quickly about the game at the weekend. I don't think really much has been made of Damari Gray's involvement in that second goal. Damari Gray obviously had the ball on the right-hand side and tried all these lollipops to try and get past people and then give the ball away and then slugged on the floor for half an hour and then decided to have a go at the linesman, even though the lad won the ball. So firstly, I know Anthony Gordon's obviously getting the stick for the foul and obviously he played his part, but also for Damari Gray's part, it was pretty dreadful as well, to be honest with you. Secondly, in regards to Lampard, again, what everybody said, really, he's a nice bloke, comes across as a nice bloke, done a really good interview with you lot, but at the same time, he's not a very good manager, sadly, and his record speaks for itself. And also, I see people saying, give him the players and this is what he'll do. Unfortunately, he brought in 2 players in the summer, and them 2 players couldn't even get on the pitch on Saturday when you need them to go. Yeah. So, do we really want to be given a manager more reinforcement when he's failed with the last 2? Really.
Let me just ask you something about Saturday, Steve.
Yeah.
Do you make anything out of the fact that he didn't bring Malpai and McNeil on, considering we only made 2 subs, and we could have done with another attacker on the pitch, maybe someone with a little bit playing off the 2 big men, and also the fact that Michalenko is. His average position during the game was basically sitting in the lower Bullens. Yeah. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like he was so deep, it was incredible. So do you
it was his fault for the first goal. There's people going about him defensively, but the last couple of games, the Wolves game and now the Southampton game, it's been coming down on his side.
Yeah, let's get it right. He's bang average. I hear people all the time telling me how he's better than Luca Dean. You must live in a different planet.
No.
We have this thing at Everton, right, where when someone leaves us, we suddenly take a dislike to us, and the person who replaces him is automatically better.
100%.
Michalenko is bang average. He'll be boss in the Championship when we sell him to one next season when we stay up. He is bang average, and I would have brought McNeil on and put him at left wing back personally. But do you read anything into that?
Yeah, I think I don't know if he's not bringing McNeil on because of the way the game was going, because he was worried about fans getting on his back. I don't know.
Not good enough if that's what he's thinking about.
No, I know it's not, John. And again, that's why, in my opinion, I actually think Everton could stay in this league if they did actually change manager. And that's just my thoughts. And don't get me wrong. Again, I do think he's tried his best for Lampard. I don't think if he walked away tomorrow, I think every fan could say at least he gave it a good go and he said the right things for a couple of months. But his record, and I try and always results are important, but I said this last time. I look around the team and I look at Man United. I know Man United have got a lot better players than us, but I look at the amount of players in a short space of time. Ten Hag has improved at Man United. Yeah. Obviously, I look at Luke Shaw, who's got like penalties.
Look at the guy at Brighton.
But
the guy at Brighton is. We all thought the Potter stuff was good. This fella has made them absolutely super. Like, they are absolutely flying with confidence, playing good football. And they've literally, they're not asked about selling Trossard now, who was their best player when Potter was there.
No, exactly, and it's the same. It's the same with Ten Hag at United as well. It's like people like Luke Shaw, people want them out the door at the end of last season. Couldn't stand the bloke, and now he's playing in front. He's playing him at centre back in front of a centre half because he's reliable and he's coaching them properly. And I hear a lot about obviously the coaches we have at the club. And like, to be honest with you, I don't know. This is probably a question for John and. In regards to the manager situation, John, do you think there's a situation at board level where are they able to afford to sack him in regards to finances? Because I'm hearing stuff of if he was to be sacked, it'd be nearly £8 million spent on him and his coaching staff.
If getting rid of this manager and the people he brought with him is only £8 million, it'd probably be the cheapest one we've got rid of, I think.
Yeah, but we can't even afford like a loan signing at the moment, John. You know what I mean? We can't afford a loan
we clearly can, because we made bids for players significantly higher.
The thing about it is, though, Steve, let me just interject. I think what I would say is sacking a manager and paying him off probably doesn't quite fall in the realms of all FFP and everything. Quite the same. Do you know what I mean? It's like that's a necessity, isn't it? So surely
let's just
do you think that, put it this way, John? If we turn around and sacked Frank Lampard and we had to give him £8 million, the Premier League couldn't stop us doing that, could they? No. But they could stop us buying players.
That's what I mean. That's
but we're not doing that anymore.
No, I know, but no, but there's still.
Listen,
you know what I mean, don't you?
Yeah, you have to do KISS on this. Keep it simple, stupid, right? Yeah. If you think, and let's not go over old ground again. Let's just do Steve's version of it, which is you sort of keep this squad of players, but you change the manager, and they should be good enough to stay up. It might be a bit hairy, but they could stay up. Yeah. Then the decision you make at a board level, which is very easy. If you're the board and they believe like you, Steve, if we bring in Sean Dyche, we will stay up. Oh dear, it's going to cost us $8 million to get rid of Frank. Yeah, but you're going to save $50 million, aren't you? Yeah. Right, because if you go down, you're going to lose $50 million. And you'll probably sack the manager as well, so it becomes 58 million instead of 42. You know what I mean? Yeah. So they can't hide behind those constraints. Yeah. If they've not sacked the manager right now, it's because they don't know what to do.
Do you also think, John, that I know again that obviously with the stuff that's going on at board level at the moment, with board members not being able to attend games and etc. Do you think? I suppose is the manager situation kind of in the last thing on their mind now, or would you say they're still fully focused on Everton duties on a daily basis?
One would like to think it's the latter, right?
Yeah.
But if you just listen to the whisperings, it would appear that the efforts of the football club, certainly from the non-playing side, is to try and get control of a narrative that protects the board.
Yeah.
Sorry, Everton. That's what it looks like. You can change what it looks like if you like. Yeah. That's what it looks like. And it's a bit like saying, whilst Denise was doing a great job with the stadium, who was doing the CEO's job?
Yeah.
It's the famous Helston thing, isn't it? I spend 3 days a week on the stadium.
Yeah, I was thinking that before.
What you were really saying was you were spending 3 days a week not being chief exec, right?
That's what I was thinking of before when you said about she had to do two jobs.
Yeah. So on that basis, they are clearly putting efforts into doing PR, so they must be spending less time on the things they need to be doing, right? They must be.
Yeah, it does make you laugh though, all this, because you just think to yourself, you're like, the club knew the stadium was coming. They knew the stuff they needed to put in place in regards to, like, I know I also remember that they wanted to be in Europe going into the new stadium, etc., all that type of stuff. But
challenging for the Premier League, mate. That's what they said.
They've just royally effed everything up, really, at every level.
Yeah.
And bar the stadium, which the only thing they've got right, really, over the last 7 years. And a lot of fans will always give them credit on that. You see it on social media today, how good it's looking, and etc., etc. And it's just mind blowing. I suppose this is where it comes back to having the right people at the club.
It does, Steve. It does,
because
mate. Yeah.
If a proper businessman or and I know we've got obviously proper potential businessmen at the club and that, but proper football business people would put plans in place for that new stadium to not be in the position we're in today. So, and yeah, it just does make me you scratch your head because you think, like, I listened to you, John, and she spoke to Baz a few times about yourself as well. Like you go in the studio every day, and I've seen people in the last couple of days going, you could do what a lot of them people at the club are doing with your eyes closed, because
I've done it in the past, so yeah,
just
not at a football club.
Yeah, because you keep, like you just said there, John, a lot of business is about keeping stuff simple. You don't have to. The problem with our club, we've just made everything so it's just so backwards, and from their point of view now, they're getting it in the ear, rightly so, because they're the fans that care about the club, and we seen that on Saturday, bar a few little kids outside. There was no idiots, there was no people trying to fight stewards in the ground. Everyone was respectful. People moved along when they had to, when they got asked to. I was sitting in the upper Bullens, and we got asked to move, and we moved down to the other side towards the Gladys Street. There was nothing about Saturday which was disrespectful towards the club. And to me, the board now there's no way back for the board, really. I actually do think there could be a way back for Farhad Mashiri, but I think he's making it very, very hard for himself now. But I think the rest, due to the allegations, etc., I do think it's very hard for a lot of those people.
I mean, mate, Mike Ashley has shown that an owner can stick out anything almost, you know. And maybe this is the final word, and because I want to say it, really,
go on.
Let me.
Go on, say what you want.
You know, if I look at what I did for many a long year, I've seen many organisations failing. You know, you may remember, if you've listened to me before, that I worked in the outsourcing game, right? So no one outsources mission critical services to the company that I work for if they're okay, right?
Yeah.
You know, they outsource a mess, and when I used to consult on this, I would say, don't outsource a mess. You know, take something as far as you can and then get an expert in, right? In other words, don't let the outsourcer do the low-hanging fruit. But, mate, I can assure anyone, and perhaps Baz can challenge me on this tomorrow because we do the biz stuff. I've gone into many organisations where we've only changed one or two people.
Yeah.
And these are particularly in regulated industries. And the organisation has been bottom of the regulatory league table, and within a year, it's at the top with 99% of the same people. You know, which is why you get the bullshit out of me when I used to do EBM about it's not what you do, it's the way that you do it. So little tweaks could make a huge difference. The problem is that making decisions is easy at the level of knowing what you should do. The hard bit is doing it. Yeah. And when you start hearing people talk about, oh, the fans won't like it, or this, that, and the other, you know they're not good enough. Because they take in external influences who have no accountability. Yeah. You know, so when the owner says, well, actually, the fans started all the getting rid of managers, he might be right. I think he's wrong, but he might be right, particularly in some circumstances. But that doesn't mean you have to listen to them.
Yeah.
We think it's FIFA. Let's get rid of this manager, and you can pick the new one, and then we'll blame that guy. You know what I mean? So they have to have testicular fortitude at that level, right? You have to. And you have to be able to stand by your decisions and articulate them to your key stakeholders. Yeah. And what we see in our football club is we don't really know who the decisions are being made by, and therefore, simplistically, you could assume, because none of the board are prepared to step in front of a camera and justify those decisions, maybe it's because they're not making them. And if you're not making decisions at that level, you shouldn't be there. See how you get into that loop? You either get out and you front it up, or you go away. And you can't just say the owner's difficult. Shareholders are always difficult, whether you're a FTSE 100 group chief exec or you're running a football club. The owner is always going to be difficult, and part of your job is managing that. And I know there's going to be people out there watching this and go, and maybe at the club, oh, it's easy to say, John. Well,
you've done it, John.
I'll show you my credentials.
You've done it,
like,
mate.
You know?
No, John. I think anybody who listens to you, like, you do speak a lot of sense, and And
a lot of bullshit as well, mate.
Yeah, I'm not as
Don't drag the credibility of the channel down, John.
I was going to say, you and Brian killed each other off before, didn't you?
Yeah, they literally did, didn't he? I was like, who's going to go first?
I suppose my last question for John, really, and yourself, Ped, as well. How does this end for this board now? It's like, obviously, it's what are we on now? It's by the way, I really do think the fans need a new signing just to get everyone's motivation back up again, and maybe to give us a bit more, obviously, towards the players, because everyone is it is negative at the moment.
The issue I think, Steve, John's just mentioned something there about Mike Ashley. Mike Ashley was a horrible pantomime figure in the eyes of the Newcastle fans, but what he wasn't, was a local fella who actually had any kind of skin in the game or emotion to it. Yeah. We've got a chairman,
local,
who's a, local lad done well, boys pen and all that. We've got Denise Barrett-Baxendale, who again, it's like a rags to riches thing, isn't it? She was a school teacher and or come through Speak Comp and all that kind of thing. Has ended up at the charity, and then worked her way through, and she was the assistant to the last guy, and now she's the CEO, and it's local girl.
Great story.
Yeah, the local girl does
Absolutely
good, you know what I mean?
Story,
That kind of great story. And then you mix that with the legend striker, the guy who scored the greatest goal ever at the Annie Road, and then you've got Grant Ingles. And you've got the you've got a blend of like Everton history mixed in with like with the story of the guy who came off the Gladys Street or the Boys Pen and ended up being the owner and now the chairman. So it's not the same, is it? It's like these people have got emotional stakes in our football club and are supposed to understand. And we are told when one of them has been put in a headlock that she doesn't want to take that any further because that's not what it's all about. That's not Everton. That's just a fan who's gone a little bit too far with his emotions and all these kind of things. So surely these should be the first people who go, we know that we can't do any more, and we love the football club, and we haven't got the coldness of a Mike Ashley and that kind of thing. You'd think they'd be the first people to go, I'm walking away from this because I am not good enough.
And surely as well, obviously, with the talk of Simon Jordan say on a daily basis about Bill's health, etc. as well.
And it's true, I know people give.
I'm not going to say anything about that, John. Obviously, I'd never wish anything on anybody, but at the same time, but he's our biggest negotiator at the club, who negotiates all these deals.
He's the best one. Yeah,
exactly. So if he's not very
well, no, John, that's my worry.
Well, but John, if he's not well and he's 77-year-old man, shouldn't really, from his point of view, that's where he should be like, I can't do this no more. I'm not very well. I'm getting on. I don't really want to. I want to kind of just remove all ties with it, concentrate on my health, etc., etc. Surely that's the right thing to do for the football club, then, isn't it? Really,
I actually think you've sort of right up to the punchline. We're right on it. Then, I think that's the best thing for Bill Kenwright. I think in the short term, the football club would suffer because he is the best negotiator. He is the one with all the contacts, and part of his challenge, I guess, in business terms of letting go, is he becomes one of us. Then, right? He has to watch others doing it. So you have to bring in that hard-nosed business person, whether it's a commercial guy, whatever role you want to kill, who's going to take it over from Bill. That part of it. That is not Kevin. Kevin is not going to do those negotiations. He didn't do them at Wolves because Mendes was all over it like a rash, right? And you don't learn how to be good at something at the top table. We're not a training ground per se, you know. Us bringing in a 17-year-old wonder kid right now to save us from relegation is not going to turn out too good, is it? So don't do that at business level either.
Well, hopefully at the end of this window, maybe that's when some of them will actually start.
Yeah, listen.
Mate, what's rushing towards us is the end of this month when it becomes a fait accompli. What you've got is what you've got to go with.
That's it.
Yeah.
And the only thing that can be got rid of when you get into February, if he's still here, is the manager.
Yeah.
And the fear is we're repeating the same mistakes of the past. We'll feel as a club or as a board or whatever, we have to bring somebody in and we'll be stuck with them for a while. And
I get Dele Alli back, you never know.
Yeah, so the bravest thing to do was to be said, there's no quality out there. There's no one we can afford that's going to make a difference. We are going to go with what we've got. And if that's the case, then you have to bring a new manager in just because a change.
Well, I was going to say,
as good as a rest.
The flip side of that is, when you think about it, is if Everton didn't sack Frank Lampard in this month and then sacked him in February, then if you were to offer the job to a new manager,
he knows exactly
what he's got.
Absolutely.
You can't have new players.
And unemployed managers will take it on, won't they?
Yeah.
And like I've always said, Farewell's got no ties to Lampard. He didn't employ him.
He's not going to sack him either. Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's maybe where the problem
For all
is.
we know, this board have done all the right things, made all the right recommendations, and the only mistake they've made is they haven't just done it. They've asked the owner, and he's thinking about it. You know.
Anyway, I'll let you get on.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Cheers,
Thanks
mate.
for the call. Thanks for all the calls tonight. I'm just slightly more depressed than I was.
Yeah, we didn't quite make 6 o'clock, did we? But
no, but we wanted.
That was good.
We wanted to make sure we got all the good calls. And there you go. The club call will be back next Wednesday. We'll have played our last game in the month of January by this time next week. So there'll be a week till the transfer window closes. So we'll know more on the situation. So, but we'll be back tomorrow live at 1:30. Me and Baz. So catch us then. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you later.
Take care.